What if the world tried its hardest to break you and failed? What if they whispered lies behind your back, betrayed you, doubted you, rejected you, and you still stood tall, calm, silent, unshaken? There is something terrifying about a person who refuses to be disturbed, not because they don't feel anything, but because they've mastered the art of feeling everything and still choosing power over reaction. That kind of strength, it isn't loud, it doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention, it just is. Most people walk through life desperate to be understood. They want to explain themselves, defend themselves, prove they're right. But that need to react, to respond, to fight back, it gives the world access to your emotions. It shows them where to poke, where to press, where to break you. And once they know what gets to you, they'll use it every time. But imagine being the person they can't read. Imagine facing betrayal, disrespect, judgment, and responding with nothing but composure. Imagine people throwing shade, and you just smiling, walking past like it never happened. That's not weakness. That's control. And control is power. You see, the world doesn't respect the one who screams the loudest. It respects the one who stays silent and still has the last word. Because when you don't react, when you don't flinch, when you don't explain or justify, you leave them wondering, you leave them unsettled. You leave them powerless. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your emotions, if untrained, are your biggest vulnerability. But if mastered, they become your shield. You don't need to prove your strength. You need to protect your energy. That's what real strength is. That's what unshakable presence looks like. When people test you and find nothing but silence, when they expect you to fall apart, but you rise even higher, when they hope to see you lose control, and instead they see your calmness become your weapon. The world is always watching, maybe not with their eyes, but with their expectations. They want to know if you'll break, if you'll slip, if you'll collapse under pressure. And when you don't, you win something far greater than approval. You earn their respect. Even your enemies can't help but admire a spirit that refuses to be broken. Let them throw their words. Let them question your worth. Let them gossip, betray, doubt. You are not here to convince them. You are here to conquer yourself. You are here to rise above, to lead with poise, not panic, with clarity, not chaos. Because the one who can keep their mind steady when the world is shaking, that person becomes untouchable. And here's the reward for mastering this mindset: peace. The kind of peace that no insult can disturb, the kind of focus that no distraction can shatter, the kind of power that no chaos can reach. You don't just survive the storm, you become the storm's silence. If you stay with me till the end, I promise you this: you'll walk away with more than motivation. You'll walk away with a mindset that makes you unstoppable. Because the moment the world believes nothing can break your spirit is the moment they stop trying. And that's when you rise, unbothered, undistracted, unbreakable. And once they stop trying to break you, you begin to see who you really are. Because when the noise fades, when the battles end not because you lost, but because you refuse to lower yourself, you are left with something most people never find. Clarity. The clarity to know what truly matters. The clarity to rise without needing to crush anyone. The clarity to walk your path without validation, without applause, without permission. That's where greatness begins. In silence, in stillness, in restraint. It's easy to explode. It's easy to lash out. It's easy to match energy with energy. But that's exactly why most people never grow. They stay stuck in cycles of reaction. They are prisoners to every insult, every disappointment, every look, every opinion. But you were not built to be a prisoner. You were built to rise above the noise and choose a higher level of living. Because the real war is not outside, it's in your mind. The enemy isn't always a person. Sometimes it's the urge to respond. Sometimes it's the temptation to defend your ego. Sometimes it's that voice in your head saying, "Don't let them get away with it." But what if letting them go is how you win? What if their chaos doesn't deserve your energy? The most powerful move you can make is no move at all. Let them watch you walk away without a single word. Let them see you succeed without ever needing to mention their name. Let your discipline do the talking. Let your peace prove your growth. because there is nothing louder than a person who is silent and winning. People don't forget that kind of energy, and that's why you need to hold the line. You need to build a wall around your focus, your emotions, your spirit, not to hide, not to become cold, but to protect what matters, to guard your power, to choose your peace over petty arguments, your future over fleeting emotions. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. You don't see eagles fighting with crows. You don't see lions chasing flies. There is a level of awareness, of maturity, that simply doesn't allow you to get dragged into every conflict, because when you understand your value, you stop trading your peace for attention. You stop negotiating your energy for temporary satisfaction. You realize that your response is your responsibility, and every time you choose calm, you are building your legacy. Every time you choose not to react, you are becoming the person no one can shake. Every time you stay composed, you are telling the world, I control me. And that control is what separates leaders from followers, builders from destroyers, legends from the forgotten. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your standard. You don't need to clap back to prove you're strong. Your restraint is not submission, it's strategy. Your silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. It speaks louder than any reaction ever could. And it shows the world exactly who they're dealing with, someone who cannot be broken, because they've already mastered the art of holding themselves together when everything tries to pull them apart. The world gives its attention to the loud, but it gives its respect to the still, so stand still. Let the chaos pass, let the storms rage around you. Keep your posture, keep your presence, keep your purpose. Because the moment you let outside noise change your inner state, you give away what makes you powerful. But when you hold steady, you not only protect your power, you expand it. And that's how leaders rise, not with noise, not with anger, not with revenge, with calm, with clarity, with the quiet kind of confidence that tells the world, I don't need to prove myself. I am myself. You want to be unstoppable? Then stop reacting. You want to be respected? Then stop explaining. You want to lead? Then master your emotions before you try to manage anyone else's. That's how you earn your place. That's how you build your throne. Because in a world full of noise, the quiet one becomes impossible to ignore. And when you become impossible to ignore, you don't need to chase any respect comes to you. Opportunities find you, and your silence becomes your signal. That's the irony most people never understand. They spend their lives trying to be seen, trying to be heard, trying to convince others they matter. But the moment you stop chasing validation and start mastering your inner world, everything changes. You move from proving to becoming, from reacting to rising. And people feel that shift. They feel the difference between someone who's desperate for attention and someone who is grounded in purpose. One screams, the other simply shows up, unbothered, unmoved, undeniable. You don't need to say much when your energy speaks first, because power isn't about being feared, it's about being respected. It's about walking into a room and commanding space not because you demand it, but because your presence carries something deeper, a calm intensity, a quiet fire. The kind of confidence that doesn't come from pretending you're unshaken, it comes from going through hell and choosing not to lose yourself in the process. Every person who has ever done something extraordinary learned this. Emotional control is the foundation of all greatness. When you can stay focused while others get distracted, when you can stay grounded while others panic, when you can stay kind while others get bitter, that's when you stand out. That's when you lead. Because the world will always test you. It will try to provoke you, bait you, break you, and if you flinch, you feed it. But if you stand your ground, you starve it. If you refuse to respond, the chaos dies in silence. That's how you protect your power, not by fighting every enemy, but by choosing which battles are worthy of your energy. And more often than not, the greatest battle is the one inside between who you are and who they want you to become. They want you to become reactive, angry, defensive. But when you choose to remain composed, you take back the one thing they're trying to control, your state of mind. And that's a victory far greater than any comeback or clapback, because when you master yourself, you master your life. You stop being dragged by circumstances. You stop being defined by your past. You stop being ruled by emotions that once made you feel small. Instead, you become the force, the standard, the presence that raises the room just by being in it. That's what your journey is really about. It's not just about success. It's about building an inner world so strong that nothing on the outside can shake it. It's about becoming the person who doesn't just survive, who thrives in silence, who transforms pressure into purpose, who wears peace like armor. And when you reach that place, people won't understand you. They'll wonder how you do it, how you stay calm in chaos, how you stay kind in cruelty, how you keep moving when everything's against you. They'll try to figure it out. But they won't be able to because they've never faced themselves the way you have. They've never disciplined their mind. They've never looked within long enough to break the patterns. But you did, and you do. And that's why you're different. So don't let the noise change you. Don't let the world decide your energy. Stay grounded, stay still, stay bold in your silence. Because the louder the world gets, the more valuable your calm becomes. You are not here to be consumed by their chaos. You are here to lead in your own lane, to rise without rage, to win without noise, to show the world that true power doesn't announce itself, it arrives and it's felt. And when you carry yourself like nothing can break you, most things won't even try. When most things no longer try to break you, you start to experience life from a higher place where your energy no longer reacts to the small, but responds only to the meaningful. That's when you stop surviving and start leading, quietly, powerfully, with purpose. You begin to understand that every test, every betrayal, every insult that once triggered you was never really about them, it was about you. It was about the version of you that needed healing, the version of you that hadn't yet learned how to be still when everything around you was moving. Now you see it clearly. They weren't attacking you, they were revealing you. They showed you what still hurt, what still needed strength, and instead of breaking, you built. That's what unshakable people do. They use the chaos as a mirror. They don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? They don't waste time fighting the storm. They become the kind of person who can walk through it untouched. Because life doesn't get easier. You get stronger, and strength doesn't always look like lifting weight. Sometimes it looks like letting go of what used to control you. Sometimes it looks like smiling in moments that used to break you. Sometimes it looks like staying silent when your ego is screaming to respond. That's real growth. That's what separates the temporary from the timeless. You can't inspire anyone if you're always reacting. You can't lead anyone if you're always defending. And you can't build something meaningful if your peace is constantly being stolen by people who don't even know who they are. Your journey requires a higher level of discipline now. You've come too far to keep giving your power away to people who don't deserve access to your emotions. You've fought too hard to stay grounded, to keep losing yourself in every distraction, every drama, every opinion. There's a reason why people respect those who remain calm under pressure. Because deep down, everyone wants to feel that kind of control, that kind of peace, that kind of freedom. And here's the truth. It's not just for a few. It's not reserved for the gifted or the lucky. It's available to anyone who decides to stop reacting and start mastering. Anyone who is willing to sit with themselves, confront their patterns, and choose peace over chaos even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Because peace isn't something you find, it's something you create. And you create it by choosing not to give your power away, especially when it's most tempting to do so. So, the next time life tests you and it will pause, breathe, remember who you are. You are not here to entertain every insult. You are not here to explain your worth. You are here to protect your mission, your vision, your future. And every time you stay grounded, you build it stronger. They'll keep watching, they'll keep testing. But when they see that nothing moves you, nothing shakes you, nothing breaks you, that's when they begin to realize you are not like the rest. Because you didn't come this far to prove yourself to anyone. You came to evolve, to rise, to become untouchable, not by being cold, but by being in complete control of your energy. You don't chase peace, you are peace. And that presence, that energy, that quiet, unshakable fire inside you, that's what will outlast everything. Because when you know who you are, you don't flinch when others forget. That's how unbreakable confidence is built, not by constant praise, but by constant alignment with your truth. You don't wait for the world to recognize you. You live in such a way that even your silence echoes your purpose. People often think strength is loud, filled with declarations and dominance, But real strength whispers. It's in the choice to walk away. It's in the decision to keep going without applause. It's in the discipline to stay calm when every part of you wants to explode. That's not weakness. That's transformation. That's growth. That's evolution. You don't need to announce that you've leveled up. Your peace will show it. The way you no longer entertain nonsense. The way you stop seeking closure from people who never valued your voice in the first place. That is power. That is maturity. That is the quiet shift from needing to be understood to simply understanding yourself. And when you start living from that place, your entire world changes. You begin to attract differently. You begin to walk differently. You stop negotiating your standards to make others comfortable. You stop shrinking your spirit to fit into places you've already outgrown. You move with purpose, not approval. With clarity, not confusion. Because once you've seen your own strength in silence, there's no going back to noise. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. That's not your burden to carry. Your only task now is to remain solid in your lane, focused on your vision, and loyal to your peace. Your presence alone becomes a message. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to complete what IWA is born to do. And the world will try to distract you through chaos, through temptation, through everything designed to pull you off course. But distractions only work on those who don't know where they're going. When your vision is clear, your energy becomes sacred. You don't waste it on battles that lead nowhere. You don't burn it proving things to people who were never rooting for you. Because once you've seen your own strength in silence, there's no going back to noise. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. That's not your burden to carry. Your only task now is to remain solid in your lane, focused on your vision, and loyal to your peace. Your presence alone becomes a message. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to complete what I was born to do. And the world will try to distract you through chaos, through temptation, through everything designed to pull you off course. But distractions only work on those who don't know where they're going. When your vision is clear, your energy becomes sacred. You don't waste it on battles that lead nowhere. You don't burn it proving things to people who were never rooting for you. You use it to build, to grow, to rise. Every time you hold your peace instead of firing back, you grow stronger. Every time you stay grounded when the world is shaking, you build unshakable character. Every time you keep your energy clean while others throw dirt, you rise higher. And eventually, the world catches on. They realize they can't manipulate you, they can't shake you, they can't control you with fear or flattery. And that's when you become what few ever dare to be, truly free. Free from the need to perform, free from the weight of expectation, free from the trap of reaction. And in that freedom, you finally become what you were always meant to be, your highest self. This is not about pretending things don't hurt. It's about refusing to let them rule you. It's about understanding that everything you go through is shaping you, sharpening you, strengthening your foundation. You've already proven you can survive. Now it's time to prove you can thrive calmly, intentionally, unshakably. Because the goal was never to be the loudest. The goal was to be the last one, standing with peace in your heart, fire in your soul, and a presence that speaks louder than words ever could. And when you stand as the last one standing, you become a beacon. Not because you shout the loudest, but because your quiet strength illuminates the path for others who are lost in the noise. Your calm becomes contagious, your resilience inspiring, your unshakable spirit a blueprint for those who wonder if they can make it through their own storm. You hold a secret that most spend their lives searching for, the power to remain unbothered in a world that constantly tries to steal your peace. That power doesn't come from circumstances. It doesn't come from luck or talent. It comes from a choice, a daily commitment to refuse to let external chaos dictate your inner state. And that choice, repeated over and over, becomes who you are. You become the person who can face any challenge with steady eyes and a full heart. The person who refuses to let setbacks define their story. The person who understands that control over self is the most valuable control of all. You are no longer a victim of your emotions. You are the master of them. Imagine what life looks like when fear no longer controls your decisions, when anger no longer consumes your energy, when doubt no longer slows your progress. That life is not a dream, it's a reality within reach. All it takes is the courage to step back, breathe, and say, I will not be moved. And as you make that declaration within yourself, something shifts in the universe. Opportunities align, relationships deepen, your vision sharpens, doors open, not because you force them, but because your energy commands respect. This is the legacy you create, not just success, but serenity. Not just power, but peace. Not just achievements, but authenticity. You become a force that doesn't need to prove itself, a presence that doesn't need to seek approval, a soul that doesn't need to explain its worth. Because when you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, the world finally sees you for what you truly are. Unbreakable,